So today, I think it was yesterday, they announced, they being the government, about that they were extending the registrars doing marriages outside. And whilst, yes, that's lovely, and whilst that's really good because it opens up lots of things for lots of people, which is lovely, and I'm all about facilitating and making things happen for people. But essentially, nothing's changed. So all we're really celebrating is that we haven't gone backwards, which is good. We are still in motion, and we've stopped going forwards as far as like the marriage law getting reformed. It's no longer moving forwards, really. They moved forward a touch during COVID, and they've plateaued again. The bigger picture is that actually marriage law needs to be reformed. There's some very old-fashioned, quite ridiculous things in there. Go have a look if you're not quite sure what I'm talking about. But essentially what they changed last year and the year before for the COVID restrictions are basically the same. So it hasn't moved forward any further than what they did as a knee-jerk reaction to try and get people up the aisles. So I will recap on what I said last year. The things you need to look out for, obviously there's always small print. The big news is, yes, you can get married outside. But there's a lot of buts. But. Catch. Small print. The main things are, you still don't have control. With a celebrant, you have the control. If you like to have control over things, have a celebrant. If you like to be able to stamp your style over things, have a celebrant. If you like to be able to have walked it through, see the bigger picture, literally press play on the music, timed yourself or your partner going down the aisle, like going down, like at the end, like how do we leave? Because leaving's always messy. I hate a messy ending. Like we get everyone in place and, you know, you walk down the aisle nicely. And then we can time that. And if you don't care whether your wedding looks as professional as the rest of your day, then don't get a celebrant. But if having your ceremony, you want to look as professional as the dinner, the dress, the venue, the makeup, you've got a professional for all those other things. Registrars are professional at the legals. They're in the marriage business. They're not in the wedding business. I'm a wedding professional. I'm not a marriage professional, but they're in the marriage business. Everyone in the wedding industry is in the wedding industry. It's a big difference. But if you don't care about control, and you don't really care about style, and you don't care about being unique, you're probably not even following me in the first place. So, you know, bye-bye if you stumbled across me. But welcome all of those that care. So what don't you have control of with a registrar? Any of it, really, to be honest. You can't take any drinks in, even if it's outside. So you still can't have, if you're having like tray service or pre-ceremony drinks, they still have to not happen, and you have a dry ceremony. You still can't take pets. They're not that keen on children, but they can't really say no. I have had registrars say no little ones. I don't really know what the legal standing is on that, to be honest. But the fact that they thought they were able to say that kind of shocked me. So I should look into that, actually. But they have put restrictions in place that were in place before, and they haven't changed. So registrars can marry you outside between April and October. Lovely. But if November's gorgeous and you want to have an outdoor wedding outside in November because, oh, Jason, got a photographer on here, hello. Early autumn light is the bomb. It's amazing. It's golden, it's beautiful, it's sumptuous, the sun's low, it hits, that golden hour is divine. And it's not at 10 o'clock at night, you can have the golden hour at 5. Like a November outside wedding, if the weather's good, is beautiful. An early spring wedding, ignoring today's weather, before April, I don't know what date it is they kick in, I think it might be the 11th. You might get a glorious, like I've got a wedding next week, and if it's, it might be glorious. If they're not going to go outside, but if they wanted to go outside, they could, because I'm not a registrar, and it might be a glorious day. If it was a registrar, they haven't got the choice. So there are restrictions on the dates. It's April till October, regardless of what the weather's doing in November or March. There's restrictions on the weather of that date. And it's not even strict in that, I don't mean strict, it doesn't have clarity. It doesn't say the temperature has to be this, because you can't really. I think there are certain restrictions on if the temperature is above so and so, then they, from when I used to run venues and I used to do outdoor festivals and stuff, you do risk assessments on like heat stroke and all that kind of stuff. I do that anyway because that's my background. So, I did a wedding and it was a heat wave, and they were all in their tux, and they were saying, "Oh, can we get everyone to their seats now?" And I was like, "No, absolutely not. I'm not having anyone sit in the baking sun in the middle of a lawn any longer than they need to." So we will do pre-ceremony drinks inside. We will walk down, and as soon as the last person's in their seat, the bride's going to come straight down. And the bride was like, yeah, because I'm sweating. And the groom was like, eh. I was like, we can do it in the shade. They're like, yes, please. So we just moved the seating to the other side of the flower arch and did it in the shade, because I'm a celebrant, and because I'm used to be a venue manager, and because I do a rehearsal. I did the rehearsal at the same time that the ceremony would be, so that we knew where the sun was and we knew where the shadows were going to be. So when we got there and it was really hot, I was like, we're going to go for the shadow setup. And they were like, yeah, perfect, brilliant. And so we did that. So then again, the photographer didn't get everyone looking glary and sweaty. So again, you wouldn't get that with the registrar. Their control is they have a line that says something along the lines of, if it is inclement weather, the registrar will take the ceremony inside. It's not due to discussion or might, it just shall, just will. And inclement weather, like, what is that? This is Great Britain. Inclement weather to some is like, oh, it's nothing. Inclement weather to others are like, oh my God, I'm freezing. Are you not freezing? It's totally subjective. Do you want that lack of control? No. What else you might need to look for in the small print? You don't have control on who it is. They're all really short-staffed at the moment. There's recruitment drives going all over the place for registrars. Yeah. So they're short-staffed. You're not short-staffed as celebrants, because we are just our own person. If I'm short-staffed, it's me. I've not turned up. That won't ever happen. So there's the recruitment situation you've got to look out for. There are only so many registrars, and at the moment there isn't enough. There are only so many 2 o'clocks on Saturdays, and for all the couples that want to get married, there isn't enough. And so you don't even necessarily have control over your time. They might say, well, if you want to get married on the 22nd of whatever, we are available at 4:15. And you're like, well, I don't want 4:15, I want 1 o'clock. And they're saying, no, you can't have that, sorry. Yes, you can have that. You can have a 1 o'clock wedding with a celebrant, and then at 4:15, if you want to pay for them to come out to the venue, which some of my couples do, we have the wedding, it's all very lovely, everyone's chilled and relaxed. They do the couple shots, and then as everyone's going into dinner and you've got sort of a half an hour kind of dead space when people are just kind of doing their lipstick, going to the loo and taking their seats, my couple go off with me and somebody else. It's usually the best man, and we are the witnesses, and we do the signing at about 4, and they go into dinner, and then I'm done. But for them, they get the continuity, and it's not that people weren't present, like they got married on their wedding day, if that's a big deal for you. What else? Oh yes, warnings. The council have written to some venues in some boroughs, warning them, i.e. making it sound like they're going to be trouble if they don't, that they cannot have weddings outside before April or after November, which is not true. You can have a wedding anywhere, anytime, any place. You can't get married by a registrar outside of that window. You can't have a wedding. There is a big difference. Registrars are in the marriage profession. Everyone else is in the wedding profession. So if you want your wedding to be run by professionals, you want a professional wedding supplier taking your wedding during your wedding ceremony, surely. Right, Jason? What do you think of that? Oh, Juliet, thanks for joining. Yeah, I did make myself some notes, but I can't read them. Don't know what that one says. Temperature restriction said that. Oh, and connection. Connection. Yeah, it's a stranger. You don't know who you're going to get. Oh, it's like a box of chocolates. So it's whoever's on duty at the day. And because there's a massive recruitment drive, you might get a newbie. Not that there's anything wrong with a newbie, because actually they all have a sort of fail-safe in that it's a set script. They're going to do the same thing over and over again in the same venue, in the same room, because that's their restrictions. They have restrictions, which gives the council control. It's all about control. And either you choose to give the control to the council or you give the control to yourself. And that is the choice between a celebrant, you and the client having control, or a registrar and you pass control to the council. What do you want? There you go. Hopefully that's helpful. Yes, you can get married outside by a registrar. Yes, they've extended it, but the small print still stands, basically. Lots of love. Bye.